Hello, this is Palagi. Thank you for tuning into my channel, and today we're going to take a look at the Fallkniven S1. This is a really cool knife. Matter of fact, this is a knife I've wanted to do since I started this channel. Matter of fact, of all my various knives, this is one of my favorites, especially in this size category. I'll go ahead and explain my reasoning, but first of all, let's go ahead and go over some of the specs really fast. This has a total length of 9.7 inches. It has a blade length of 5.1 inches. The blade thickness of 0.2 inches, which is relatively thick for that size of knife. The weight of the knife is 6.7 ounces, and it is a full tang design with a protruding pommel, as you can see right there. Okay. The steel is a VG10 laminated steel, and as I mentioned in previous videos, this is one of, if not my favorite steel out there. Normally, I'm actually a fan of the carbon steel. However, the nice thing about this knife is it is a high carbon steel, with its carbon coming in at about 1%, and it's stainless steel as well. So its chromium comes in at about 15%. Okay. Let me explain really quick how VG10 is made. Okay, now the inner core to include the edge is actually the VG10. Okay, so the cutting, you're going to get the cutting benefits of the VG10, but what they did is they sandwiched that VG10 with a softer 420J stainless. Okay, now that 420, it's very, very stain resistant, but more importantly, it's a very, very super tough steel. So that's going to be good if you drop the knife, or you're batoning or something like that. Super tough, and it's not going to be quite as brittle as just a full-fledged VG10 steel. And I thought that was really neat and quite a unique design and feature of this knife. It's the edge comes in. Actually, the VG10 is hardened to 59 on the Rockwell scale, which is good. It's very adequate. And one thing that I noticed is it excels very well in woodcraft. Now, the VG10 laminated steel, in combination with Fallkniven's grind choice, has just proven itself as a top wilderness knife for my purposes, anyway. The grind is a convex grind, okay? It's kind of hard to see on video here, and for those of you who aren't familiar, where most knives are just a regular, like a V, a convex kind of comes out like this, okay? And what's neat about that is it actually slides through wood very smoothly, and there's going to be a lot of metal behind your cutting edge, which makes for a rugged yet effective grind for, like I was saying, woodworking. As long as you know how to keep up your convex grind, there's some advantages to using it as opposed to a standard V grind. One thing about the convex grind, though, is you'll find that a leather strop will be a good investment. And as long as you strop it after you use it, it'll seldom need sharpening. But when it comes time to sharpen your knife, you can use something like a base with a little bit of give. Something like a mouse pad is going to work well for that. And then all you're going to do is grab some really fine grit sandpaper and maybe some clips to, to secure that sandpaper to the mouse pad. And you're going to use pressure, I don't know, a tiny bit more than the weight of the knife, and backward strokes, and you're in business. Okay, it's actually very easy. I know people make a big deal out of sharpening convex knives, but I've never found that to be a challenge at all. The application of this knife is ideal in wet or snowy conditions. However, it works great anytime, anywhere. It's just a very versatile knife, and to be honest, this is about as large of a knife that I would want in this sort of steel, because the edge can and will chip out on the larger offerings if struck on anything like I don't know, pebbles, rocks, nails, something like that while you're chopping or batoning. The handle is made of what they call a thermarin. Okay, you can kind of see it there, which is I don't know, it feels to be like a mix of sort of a polymer and a rubber kind of. And although it's certainly nothing to write home about, it is it is functional, and it provides adequate grip. You can see the checkering here. It holds up actually pretty well. You can see some damage right there, but it does work. Like I said, it's okay. One thing you will notice, though, is how thin this handle is, okay? Some people might have a problem with that. And matter of fact, one thing that I noticed during my extensive use of this knife is that smaller handle started to cramp my hand a little bit. On the other hand, like I was saying before, this knife was made to be able to hold up in cold and wet conditions. It is nice to see that they had the forethought to engineer a thin handle there. So people who had, gloves on could use the knife really well. You can, however, order just the knife blank, okay? So, without the handle there, it would just be the blank, and then you could have, like, custom scales made and put on it, or you can actually just make a project out of it, do it yourself, which would actually be really fun, and I may very well do that myself. Either option might not be a bad route to go, though, if, just for those of you, excuse me, that have a harder time with thinner handled knives. Fallkniven, as far as testing on this knife, Fallkniven did their own testing on it, which the results of which I found were very, very interesting. And they did compensate, for their testing, like, the length of the blade and, different variables, which, just based on what little I know, I thought it was fair testing from one model to the next. What they did is essentially put flexural stress on it, okay? The S1 had a breaking weight at the lever that was 5.12 inches of 367 pounds, and it flexed approximately 60 degrees before it actually snapped, okay? This is going to be a very durable knife, and everything that I have looked into and researched on it backs that up, okay? Very just structurally sound. It's like I said, in combination with the rest of the features, it just makes it a really neat, good overall knife. Now, the reason I chose the S1, they have many different knives, but just to name a few along the lines that we're talking about here, the F1, which is a smaller version, it's actually a drop point blade. The H1, the S1, which this one obviously is, the A1, which is larger than this, and then the A2, which is larger yet, okay? Now, the F1 was just a little too small for my taste, and also I normally like the look of this clip point here as opposed to the drop point of the F1. The belly of that clip point is more conducive for things like skinning, and the tip is actually going to be thicker and stronger on this one, believe it or not, as opposed to the F1. But it's obviously going to be a better penetrator, just the way that design in that clip point, which is nice too. And then, as far as the larger blades, just knowing what I know now about this particular steel, I thought there would be better options out there for the larger blades. So, for my money, steels like this VG10 or something like a D2, they're just better served for medium to smaller knives, for outdoor use. Now, this blade finish, as you can see, this is the satin finish. Okay, I was going for just more of a traditional look here. It's not like a mere finish or anything like that, but I just like the look of it. For those of you who prefer a coated blade, they offer this in a black Cerakote. Okay, that's the only color as far as I know that you can get, but some people like those blades for whatever reason, especially if a deployment knife, or you wanted to reduce reflection. Maybe that's the route you would want to go. The sheath, there's actually a couple different options. This one is the Zytel sheath here. Okay, you can see it's not necessarily the most streamlined design here. One thing I wish they probably would have done is given you more in the way of straps, lashings, that sort of thing. It would have been nice if it was MOLLE compatible or something like that, but at a minimum it'd be nice to see like a bunch of eyelets and stuff like that, okay? It just kind of retains, you can see this on the side here. That's what holds it, and then you can actually use this additional snap for, just to help its security there. They do have, as you can see here, this to, tie down to your leg, I suppose, and it also doubles as a drainage hole. I don't know if you can see it in there, I doubt it, but anyway, that's where the water would drain out of if you got it wet, which is nice. As far as the loop is concerned, that's all you get right there. It's kind of big for most belts, but the sheath is so-so. It's okay. The one thing I did like about it is it's pretty compact. It's not that big of a sheath, and that is probably its nicest attribute. You can also get a leather sheath instead, which is an open top dangler design, and that's going to come exclusively in black as well. I actually made a black leather sheath for it. This is actually kind of a cumbersome sheath for this size of blade, so I don't really use it, but some people like knives like just straight out of the box, just ready to use. And other people like to make a project out of their knives, and I tend to fall in the latter category. I like messing with things, making my own scales, making my own stuff. And for me, actually, with the sheath, I might do a Kydex sheath and redoing these handles. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. But either way, you've got a functional knife with a functional sheath right out of the box. It's just a great knife. Like I was saying, I talked about the grind angle that I really like. It just feels good while woodworking. In combination with its thickness, it's steel choice, their steel choice I should say, that holds an edge for a long time. Just everything about this knife is great. After all my testing, I just checked it out on a piece of paper. It still is very, very sharp. I mean, maybe I can get in here, I'll just show you here. I mean, just super sharp, and it holds an edge really, really well. But anyway, I just wanted to go over some of that stuff. That is the review of the Fallkniven S1. If you guys have any questions at all, feel free to leave your mark in the comment section. If you did like this video, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up. I would appreciate that. Until next time, this is Chase, signing off.